Hello, it's Rebecca and today is another book review day, and this is my, I think, 30th book that I've been reading for the 2015 reading challenge. I will put a little link down below in the description box to explain what the challenge is about, but basically it's to read 52 books over the year, with each book coming from a different category. And the book that I have been reading this week comes from the category of a book set in your hometown. Now, before I start, I will say this isn't set exactly in my hometown. My hometown is a small place called Lowestoft on the east coast of England, and I could not find a book that was set in Lowestoft. If you find one, or you know of one, please let me know, because I would be quite interested to read it. However, I don't actually live in Lowestoft. I live in a small village just outside Lowestoft. And the only book that I could really find that was set in the local area was one set in a place called Southwold, which is a town a few miles south of where I live. So although that's not my hometown, it's geographically very close. But like I say, my hometown is Lowestoft, and if anyone knows of any books set in Lowestoft, let me know. Put a comment down below with a little linky to Amazon or something so that I can actually have a look and find something from my hometown. But for now, Southwold will have to be my hometown because of its geographical location. So I have been reading Finding Myself by Toby Litt. So I will read you the blurb and then talk to you about the book. Best-selling novelist Victoria Abbott has a plan. She's going to invite 11 of her friends to stay in a house by the sea for a month. There'll be games, bed hopping and other shenanigans. In fact, plenty of material for her next book. Except things don't quite go according to Victoria's wishes. For a start, the house appears to be haunted. Her guests do as they like, not what she wants, and worst of all, they discover her hidden cameras. With the game almost up, Victoria must somehow save herself, her book, and what's left of her friendships. This is a strange book. I can't say if I liked it or I didn't like it, which I don't like. I like to come away from a book either really hating it or really loving it, but I'm stuck on the fence with this. I like the concept. This is actually the manuscript, the edited manuscript for Victoria Abbott's book called From the Lighthouse. And I like the idea of how it's set out. So basically, Victoria Abbott is an author and she's tired of writing fiction. She wants to write something that she's experienced, but turn it into fiction. So she has the idea of inviting some friends to a house where she can watch them, where she can almost set up little situations and watch their reactions and see how they behave, and use that as inspiration to write another novel. And immediately I think of the very first, if any of you are old enough to remember the very first Big Brother that happened, I'm going to guess sometime in the 90s. I am quite old. But way back before Big Brother turned into a bit of a freak show, it was a very interesting psychological experiment where people were put in situations that they weren't particularly comfortable with, or unusual situations with people they didn't know, and we just watched how they behaved. They weren't stupid things, they were just unusual things, and it was quite interesting. I did enjoy the first series of Big Brother. After that it just went stupid and they just made people do stupid things. But that's what the book reminds me of, the very first series of Big Brother, where nothing amazingly strange was supposed to happen, but she just wanted to see what different people would do with different situations, and she'd kind of inject a little bit of naughtiness into the house. She wanted to see people have affairs, which I don't agree with, but she thought that might be quite interesting, and she made sure that she included a black disabled lesbian to make sure she'd covered all the politically correct bases. And so she's got all these friends, and one of the friends that she invites is her editor, Simona, who is the person who edits this manuscript. And throughout the book, there will be passages, I don't know if you can see that have been crossed out because they've been edited, or little notes written along the margins from the editor, which is quite interesting because you can still see the original text under these edited, crossed out pieces. So you can still see what's going on, but it is all, you know, bits crossed out, comments, you know, various bits and pieces that an editor would do to a manuscript. So I like that idea. I like that we're kind of looking into this pre-published novel with all the nitty-gritty still in it. But the premise doesn't deliver, which is very, very sad. The people, like the blurb says, the people in the house, they don't do what Victoria wants them to do. It's quite boring. She talks about, you know, people getting to know each other, and then there's bits about what they've had for dinner, and they go for a walk down the beach, and they look at the beautiful garden, and they sit in the living room. And although she says she wants things to happen, she doesn't really instigate any events or activities where things could happen. And I'm not too sure what it is that she wants from this experience. I know she says she wants these affairs to take place and for relationships to break up and all these things to happen, but she doesn't really do anything to make these things happen, and I don't really understand why. Things do happen, and I won't say what, but it's more kind of towards the middle and the end, and you feel like you're just writing or reading a diary about your own life, and where nothing much happens. And so I don't know, like I said, I don't know how to feel about this. I wanted to enjoy it because the idea sounded really good. And like I've said so many times before, I like the human psyche. I like the way people watch people, and why do people behave that way, and what's going on, and why are they thinking that, and why are they doing that. And I think that's what Victoria wanted. She wanted to observe people and see how they behave and see what their reactions were. But it's not very interesting. Maybe it's just because people aren't very interesting. I don't know. But I do feel a little bit disappointed by this. I wouldn't say don't read it, because it is, like I say, great to read a book. When I first picked it up, actually, I thought, oh my goodness, who has been scribbling all over the pages in this book? I didn't actually realise that it would be the editor, Simona, who's commenting and crossing things out. I was like, oh my goodness, who would dare write in a library book like this? Silly me, I should have actually paid attention to what the book was about. But the other thing that I will kind of criticise, although I'm not too sure, it does mention Lowestoft a couple of times, and I got very excited. One was because the nearest takeaway pizza place to Southwold was in Lowestoft, and they couldn't be bothered to wait that long for pizza to be delivered. And another, they talk about Lowestoft Hospital and the accident and emergency department. And as far as I'm aware, Lowestoft Hospital doesn't have an accident and emergency department, because in any accident and emergency we have to go to James Paget Hospital in Great Yarmouth. So I'm not too sure whether or not it was just for ease and convenience that they went to the accident and emergency in Lowestoft Hospital. But as far as I'm aware, that doesn't exist. So that made me a little bit sad that this person hadn't bothered to do their research properly. But like I say, it could just have been for ease and convenience of the characters not having to drive all the way from Southwold to Great Yarmouth. But apart from that, a fairly okay book. I wouldn't stop you reading it, but I also wouldn't overly encourage you to read it. And it's a shame, like I say, the premise was quite interesting, and I like the idea of reading a pre-edited manuscript with the editor's notes and bits and pieces in there. But yeah, it was all right, so give it a go if you want to. And like I say, if anyone knows of any books about Lowestoft or set in Lowestoft, please let me know. Just out of curiosity, I'd like to read them. Anyway, if you'd like to hear any of my other book reviews, then please subscribe to my channel. I put new videos out every time I've read a book. I occasionally do shameless self-promotion and give writing advice. So if you're interested in reading and or writing, then please subscribe to my channel, and I will see you soon. Have a good day. Bye-bye.